Okay, should we talk about this G.I. Joe cover? Da, da, da. Let's talk a little bit about the transition from pencils to the inks and for comparison. I inked over the originals, so I have a copy of the pencils, and we will discuss the some of the little areas where there's a little added drama. So let's get into it. Okay, here we go. So side by side. Yes, this is just a copy because this is the original where the pencils were inked over. Love it or hate it, it's what happens. However, I thought it would be beneficial to have like a copy side by side so we can see the difference. And of course, you know, with me and my high-tech skills, this is how we're gonna do it. Okay, so I guess we can start from top to bottom. So let's start first. First thing I often do when, you know, I start on something new is I do like to go in and ink the faces first. That way I get all the details just right before the pencils fade, and stay true to what the penciler put down as much as possible. I don't know, you guys judge. You're gonna judge anyway. So that's what I do. And let's start from top. So here we go. Hair is beautiful. Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, this is David Finch pencils. Haven't worked with David in a while, so this was fun for me to do, and especially on covers, extra fun. So here we go. Start from the top. We'll start with her hair. So there we have it. Beautiful flow, beautiful curves, wonderful hair. And what I did was I didn't change anything. I stayed true to it, in my opinion. So what I do is, who laughed? Okay, so what I do is I do follow through with sometimes, okay, yes, I do sometimes add little extra lines just to, because, you know, hair, lots, you don't have to add every single strand, but if you want to add a little more movement and, you know, for the same reason, I'll add like whites, like where, like here, it ends and it just meets there. So I like to follow through with whites. In my mind, I think it adds to the motion. And let's see. And what we are trying to do is we have, it's a still frame, and in comics, what you want to try to do is add motion, especially when it's like an action scene. So for that reason, I've done a few other things that we'll talk about as we go through this cover. So yeah, so in the hair, what I do is, like I said, I don't change the shapes, the flow or anything like that. And all inking for me is just adding tiny little bits of drama that would kind of assist, or, you know, a little bit of a follow through to what the penciler has put down. So again, with the whites going through there, I did it here. I add some here. Sometimes it pops things forward. Sometimes it just kind of helps, like with, like I said, the follow through with motion. It's sort of like, so it doesn't just kind of stop you know, just to kind of keep the energy and the flow going. So just a little subtle, and for the same reason, sometimes I just still add a little more, like, see if the line ends, sorry. If a line ends, sometimes I just continue it. That's right here. It goes into her chunks, but sometimes that's where you add some of the whites too. At the end, that's what you do. That's what you do. And little signs of like maybe little baby hair. It's all like a little judgment call, and I try not to do anything like too extreme, just little subtle stuff. Like, it's not noticeable in the print sometimes. Sometimes it kind of helps the overall look, and you really wouldn't notice unless you really, really zoom in and study. But the overall look, it does assist in, I don't know if it, in my opinion, in my perfect world, I like to think that it does help to keep the energy and the flow going, and again, with adding motion to like a still shot. And okay, so next on top of the page, background stuff. So here, crumbling blocks of, could be brick, could be concrete, hard building stuff. So that's the pencils, little bits of it there, and inks. Again, more like little bits of extra debris just to add to the motion. Again, assist in the drama. It, you know, a little bit of texture. I've added some, okay, little bits, lots of bits, texture. Because it's kind of fun, and really when it's printed, it's going to be reduced quite a bit. So these little tiny bits will kind of, it'll be very subtle, but like I said, hopefully it adds to the end, the overall look. And these days, I think more also for the collectors. So for the original art, like some of the stuff will be on the original that you will not see when it's printed or when it's published, but it will be nice to have on the final original piece. So that's the little gift that original art collecting will get you, is stuff that you won't really pick up on the final printed published version. So yeah, more of the same. He kind of shows, like, you know, broken pieces there. So like I said, just following through and adding more, just more drama, more of that motion and destruction. Fun texture, maybe something, you know, fun for the colorist to play with. I don't know how colorists feel about that, but that's what I like to think. So yeah, basically following through with all the same mindset with everything, like what is all this stuff, and adding the texture that kind of goes with it and just kind of brings it a little more drama, a little more action, a little more movement, more flow, so you can see all the little subtle things at the end. Hopefully adds to it in the final piece. And like top left here, similar stuff to the bottom. I'm sorry, top right, similar stuff on the bottom left. Sometimes I also do, it's solid black here, and it's all judgment call, and you do your best and you know, hopefully not offend the pencilers too much. But it is nice to ask, like, what is there something you really don't want me to do? Is there something you really hate, or is there something you really, really love that like you'd like to see more of? I try to be courteous and ask that if I've never worked with someone before. So not to, you know, just completely like ignore their feelings. So sometimes I will add like instead of just solid blacks, add, you know, some textures. That way, maybe you want to pop some things out a little bit. Maybe I want to say like there's a whole mass here that's a little in front of this back part here, just to separate it. Maybe it gets a little more light and it drops down a little darker. So little things like that. You know, the truth is it makes it kind of fun for me to kind of participate. But the bottom line is hopefully it adds more to the final piece. So it is not so flat, because in comics, because what we're trying to do is have action and dimension to like still frames and on you know 2D art. So you're trying to make it like give it motion and give it some dimension, just to kind of add to the excitement of what we know is superhero comic books. So with that in mind, also we'll go to another area. Maybe there's something on the page, like, because this is not like, you know, that crazy busy where sometimes you have a page or a cover where it's just every space is covered. And at that point it gets to be so busy, like how do you pull out the important stuff? So that is also something to keep in mind as an inker, just so you don't lose everything, especially on super busy stuff. And this, I think, you know, pretty much, I mean, David's already done all the work. You've got the action there, you know exactly what just happened. But again, just to add to the drama, so she pops him in the face, right? Which, you know, yeah, it's cool how you see, yep, that's where action happened. I guess that bounced off his head. You can make up all kinds of fun stories. So maybe this is cool, but I want to like pull this fist forward, because it make it come at the audience a little bit more. And because the thing about pencils and inks is that sometimes like a lot of stuff is, you know, a little bit subtle on the pencils, but once you ink it, you can kind of totally lose it. So you kind of have to figure out, how can I retain that or make it even more you know, exciting or dynamic or dramatic. So I don't want to lose that power, that energy, even if it's like after the hit. See, trying not to give you guys a headache. So in using like that, you know, the flick of the brush or the toothbrush, make it even messier. And what that does is like it also brings like attention to the action and all these little spray, and kind of like use line weight to pull her fist forward a little bit more, so it seems like it's coming at you, and also brings the attention to like the action, the motion. It's, you know, again, I like to think that it's subtle enough that it's not like offensive, but it adds to it in the overall look. It gives it more motion. And like I said, going from pencils to ink, sometimes you can lose a lot. I mean, you can ink it exactly as it is penciled, but sometimes you can drown out like little details, and you can just really kind of like make, you know, just naturally, you know, make it dull. So you have to come up with some different ways to kind of retain it, or I mean enhance it. So many words, my gosh. Okay, So yeah, those are the little subtle things, and I try to keep, like, also make everything work together, but give it some more like dimension, and also all these little flicks and sprays and stuff you see around. Sometimes you use it to kind of help frame. I mean, it's absolutely, perfectly fine as is. But like I said, sometimes like the little bits of added drama really makes it more exciting, and a lot of it is judgment call and experience, and you're going to make some wrong or maybe bad calls here and there, but everything's fixable, and you learn with experience. So you can just do your best and talk to your pencilers and see what you can do about just adding the little subtle things that could be kind of fun for you and not so offensive or overpowering that it kind of changes like what you were given. But yeah, there you go, just little tiny little bits of background stuff on the subtle things you can do to add drama or to bring attention or to kind of give some kind of motion and action and movement to the art, so it's not like just flat, boring, oh pretty. Like pretty's cool, but you need some action. So there we go. What do you guys think? Do we like these sort of videos where we cover little details and little things? But yep, again, this is Mr. David Finch, and you know who, and Finch. All right. Thanks, David. Till next time.